Welcome to the Run Lift Mom podcast, where we're talking about running, lifting, and momming, not necessarily in that order, and sometimes very creatively, because today I'm talking to two fathers, Brandon McCormick and Mike DeRosa. They're here to talk to me about lacing up their running shoes for 24 hours on the treadmill. That's right, they got after it for 24 hours on the treadmill. They're here to talk to me about when this idea was born, when Brandon saw Tara Langdon do her own Guinness World Record attempt, their 20-year friendship and what that meant for communication during this BHAG, as well as what happens when your best laid plans just don't go like you thought they would. Brandon McCormick is a leader in the fitness industry here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He is a father. Mike DeRosa, you can thank him for his service to our country in the Army. Both of these guys are leaders in the community. I'm so proud to have them on the show. I hope you will forgive me for bringing two dads on a show called Run Lift Mom. I also hope you'll forgive me for saying, I love it, about 500 times. But you guys, it's jaw-dropping what these guys share. They're incredible, intense individuals. I'm so happy to have them on this show. Welcome to part 1 of 2 of Strategic Quitting with Brandon McCormick and Mike DeRosa. I am so excited to have you guys. We've got Mike DeRosa and we've got Brandon McCormick fresh off of the 24-hour challenge where they ran 65 miles on the treadmill. Whoa, Nelly. Scale of 1 to 10. Brandon, how are you? What is your pain scale on a 1 to 10?
1 to 10. Today I'm about a 6. Just a bunch of tightness in places. But the pain, so I say about a 6.
About a 6. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. A lot better today than we were, obviously, when the challenge ended. Just a little bit of tightness and soreness, but as expected. So we're getting through it.
Wow. And as we're recording this, we're about 48 hours, give or take, a little bit outside of that effort. So I've got to back up. Well, I'm saying back up 48 hours, but obviously it's more than that. Why running 24 hours on a treadmill? I mean, a lot of my listeners are like, dude, I'm not even trying to run an hour on the treadmill. Why 24 hours?
Well, it started off. I honestly seen the women's attempt at the Guinness World Record live on Facebook last May. So that's where the idea came from. And I love challenging myself. So I was like, one day I'm definitely gonna attempt that. Because it was intriguing to me. I actually stayed up that whole 24 hours and watched that lady attempt to break the world record, and she came up short for the women's as well, as we did too. But it's definitely a challenge, and I saw her challenge, and I saw her pain, and for some reason I was attracted to that. So I had to attempt that. I had to attempt it, and then of course I ran the idea across to my buddy Mike, and he was down. So I was like, oh man, no other way to do it like that.
So, Mike, I mean, we're in the trust tree. I got to know, were you like really down as soon as he mentioned it? Or did you need like a period where you had to think it over? Tell us the truth.
So it's actually kind of crazy. Me and Brandon are very similar in a lot of ways. We've known each other for 20 years. So we get along really well. We have like a sense of humor that's pretty alike. So as soon as he mentioned it to me, I already seen the excitement in his face. I was just like, hey, man, I'm down. Let's do it. Let's set it up.
I love it. Well, I mean, you know what? If somebody's gonna, I guess you understand when your friend of 20 years is attracted to the pain. You understand that that's normal. And I love that you're a close enough friend to jump in it with him.
Absolutely. We're always throwing ideas across at each other. Like, I hit him up today, and there's a 40-mile bike ride that's in New York City here in May, and it goes across all 5 boroughs. I don't really even have to go into much detail. When I talk to Brandon or when he talks to me, I throw the idea out and he's like, hey, man, when is it? I say, hey, it's in May. He said, all right, let's do it. And it's really as simple as that. The rest of it, we just work out the small kinks, but we're usually game to pretty much do anything. We love challenges.
So I want to make sure everybody is hearing that, because you guys just told me 48 hours out from this running challenge, you're still at pain level 6. I mean, that's pretty much squarely still in the pain cave, and you're already considering your next physical challenge.
Absolutely.
Yes, all the time, all the time.
I love it. I love it. Okay, somebody talk to me about Team for Kids and how that came into it. And I mean, look, you guys know this is the Run Lift Mom podcast, but you are fathers. And so that, in parenthood, we know that that's a team effort and it takes a village. Talk to me a little bit about, the cause and what you wanted to bring awareness to.
So I used to live in New York a few years ago. Fayetteville. I grew up here. That's how me and Brandon met when we were younger. We went through pretty much all our schooling together, played sports together. But as I got older, I joined the Army and I ventured off in different places. And one of the places I was stationed was in New York. So long story short, I was very active while I was in New York into obstacle course races and just regular running. And I came across the New York City Roadrunners, and the New York City Roadrunners kind of introduced me to this charity called Team for Kids. So it's a wonderful charity. They raise a lot of money. Millions of dollars every year is raised across the United States. And this is for kids to give them opportunities that maybe they're not able to afford, or they're just not aware of. So it kind of educates them on health and fitness. It educates them on events that are happening in the communities on a daily basis. There's runs on a weekly basis, and it pays for these kids to get into these races, pays for their bibs, field trips. I mean, it's just a great, amazing cause. And it kind of shows these kids that having goals that might not seem realistic in the, kind of like right at that moment, showing them kind of the steps and ways to reach those goals and achieve them. It kind of like me and Brandon. I mean, it sounds crazy to do a 24-hour treadmill challenge and run on a treadmill and try to achieve 100 miles. But in reality, as long as you can kind of set yourself up for that goal, then reaching it should not be that hard. As long as, in your head, you're like, hey, I'm not going to quit. So it's a great charity. And I've been working with them for now, this will be 4 years. And I introduced it to Brandon, and we just kind of ran with it.
I love it. I did some internet research prior to this, and I'm going to say half-baked because you speak for the charity much better than I do. It's important to pause, and the fundraising that you've been doing for the last 4 years and the fundraising that you guys have done for, around this event and visibility. Team for Kids has raised $74 million with an M dollars in the last 16 years. And also they've affected 250,000 with an M children,
Right.
like giving these kids these opportunities. And so like the funds that you've raised makes those things possible. Like you said, the registration and the coaching and just the helping them break down those larger goals into manageable ones.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
That's great. That is great. Well, you guys made a big statement. So I have to tell the audience here that you guys started at noon. Now I've got 4 children under age 5. And so like real talk, life probably wasn't going to let me be there at noon or like 2 o'clock when you had the newspaper there and you had all the crowds there and everything. But I wanted to be there when I came, and that was at about 10 p.m. I wanted to be there then because it was kind of empty. And it was really neat to be there with you as like, the crowd support was gone. I know y'all weren't feeling fantastic, but I was really surprised at the way you were breaking things down in your head. You were every hour kind of taking a rest there, rolling out, flushing the lactic acid out. When did you guys kind of come up with this game plan? Was that something that just evolved after Brandon had the idea?
You want to take that, Brandon?
Yes, it did kind of evolve after the idea. It was a different approach than what I saw the lady on her attempt when I watched that. So it was totally different from her attempt. So yeah, I just figured just after a while, you know, like you said, we set a high goal at 100 miles. Um, you know, I set that goal personally for myself because I'm not afraid to fail. So I was like, I can do this. You know, so that's why I set that out there. And then yeah, so we came up short. But yeah, it was tough. I feel like you know, where we messed up at is maybe our long break. It was amazing that you were there when you came. That was like you said, it was of course I had, you know, we had each other. And we had my wife's support as well. And then of course we thank everybody else who came and support.
Absolutely.
They brought food, of course, drinks, all that. You know, we used everything. Don't think we didn't get it. We used everything to our advantages. But yeah, I feel um, I just feel like our long break was just a little too long. You
How
know,
long was your long break?
it ended up being maybe around 3 hours.
Okay.
We did try. We set it for 2 hours, and we tried to get up at 2 hours was actually too long. After that, I feel because we tried to make it two. And then we sat down for another hour and rolled out. You know, got hopped on the bike. As you saw us, you noticed we were on the bikes a lot when we weren't on the treadmills or not on that foam roller. So I feel like our approach and our plan was pretty good up until I think that might be where the mistake was. It was extremely hard to get because we were on schedule at that break. That's why we decided to take that long break. Maybe if we weren't on, maybe we were a little behind in the mileage,
Right.
and maybe we would have pushed a little, a little harder. But we were comfortable, and I think that's where we might have messed up at. We were a little too comfortable.
So how long after that long break? So I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020, right? You can look at it now and be like, I won't do that next time. But when I want to really focus on the moment when you guys said, okay, we can either keep slogging it out or we can cut our losses here. Can you take me to that moment and kind of how that conversation went between the two of you?
Wow. I don't even think it was so much of a conversation. It was just kind of our eye contact. I mean, we continued on our pace, and when we started reaching our miles, our 60-mile marks, and climbing to 61 to 62, we could each tell just our body tones, you know, stretching, just our faces alone. I could tell we were both kind of in some pain. We're both experiencing different pains, whether it was cramping, stomach issues. We stopped sweating. Whether it was a red tint in your urine, those are kind of eye-opening things that you know your body's reacting to.
Do you have rhabdo?
Say it again.
Do you have rhabdo? I mean, well, okay, we can talk about your urine some other time. Sorry, that's the former CrossFit coach in me. Like, whoa, hold on.
It was just like, you know, it was a lot of signs at once, and they were painful. I have to say, and Brandon can contest to this. You know, quitting was never something that I would say it's not in our vocabulary. But at the same time, when you set your goals high, you have to be realistic and understand that sometimes failing is going to happen, and it's just how you bounce back from that. And that's just part of being resilient. So I think that as long as you understand what quit means, and you understand that, hey, look, if quitting is like your short-term strategy, so to speak, then obviously that's bad. But if quitting is your long-term strategy, which was ours, then I would say that's okay. Just go back to the drawing board, see what we can do differently, and then be resilient. And we're gonna attempt this again, 100%.
Definitely.
I love it. So what I hear you saying is the quit was a strategic move within a bigger picture of achieving this goal, which story is still being written.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Wow. Hey, Run Lift Mom listeners, you know I'm the mom of 4 kids under age 5, and therefore I am always looking for ways to work smart, not hard. Anchor is the smartest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you why. First of all, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, but Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so then it can be heard on places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a whole lot more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It is quite literally everything you need all in one place. And y'all, it's free. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Now you know why the title of this episode is Strategic Quitting. We have all had those moments where we've had to ask ourselves, is this adversity that I'm going through and I just need to put my head down and soldier on? Or am I better served to quit so that my energy is better spent elsewhere for the long-term good? That's what we get into in part 2 with Brandon McCormick and Mike DeRosa. This is really cool stuff to get into. I split it into 2 because I want this podcast to be short form. Until I get into your earpiece again, remember, for while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise for the present life and also the life to come. Did you enjoy this? Y'all, I am just getting started. You can do me a solid by subscribing, leaving a review, or find me on Instagram or Facebook using the hashtag RunLiftMom and let me know how I can make this better.